Welcome to the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos. The NBA playoffs, last time we talked, we spoke about LeBron James and the Brooms in a negative context. Now, we were calling him Janitor James against the Toronto Raptors. Yeah, he got the sweep in that series. But early on, Celtics and Cavs, it looked as though the King might get the cleaning right out of the front door. But what did he do? He showed resilience, and now the series is tied up 2-2. Celtics were up 2-0. Cavs tied it up 2-2 with their Game 4 victory last night. And Game 3, I was a little bit perturbed by the score because I'm wondering how in the world do you get busted by a team twice on the road and then you come back home and beat that team by 30 points, a 30-piece chicken with fries. How does that happen? Well, maybe it's because people say this is attributed to role players play better at home. I'm not sure what happens, but for some reason, this just puzzles me. It annoys me a little bit. Now, LeBron is leading the way with defense. You saw the play against Aaron Baines at the basket at Game 3 where he jumps off of the trampoline and stifles him at the rim. And I really think that he's had to play that way defensively because his team, they know that LeBron is a superior talent. And if he's not going to go all out, which I think he was a little active days ago in Game 2, Terry Rozier had the And I really think that LeBron James was kind of fatigued on the road. And I'm not saying he's fatigued in the playoffs because we've seen what he's done this entire postseason. This is one of his best postseason performances that I've seen since I've watched this man play, since I was in the 8th grade back in 2003. But LeBron James has raised his level of play to a point in which we think the Celtics potentially may not be able to recover from. Now, besides the fact he passed Kareem to set a playoff field goal record, LeBron James scored 44 in Game 4 last night. The 44, you look at that 44 points and you think that's a quiet 44. But LeBron James, he does it in so many different ways to get his 44 points that it makes you appreciate it that much more. He gets the assists. He gets the rebounds. No, this wasn't a triple-double performance, but his 44 is never really a forced 44, which I can respect. There are times when you see people like Russell Westbrook or even Kobe back in the day would score 40, 50 points, and the first thing you want to see and look at is, wait, how many shots did he take? And LeBron, he never has to take 30, 40 shots to get this 44 points because he plays to his strengths. He gets to the bucket, gets into the painted area, and converts on the offensive end from inside that area, inside the post area. And he'll hit a couple threes from here and there. His three ball's gotten a lot better late in his career. But I will say, LeBron James has a certain effect about him. What's the LeBron effect? The LeBron effect is something that has totally discombobulated the Raptors the past couple years in the postseason. Now, what does that mean? He gets in these teams' heads because they see all these commercials. They know the story, the narrative about who LeBron James is. And I think at certain points, that sense of doubt starts to maybe creep in your mind a little bit, especially when you're the Celtics, who you've been hearing, oh, you guys may sweep the Cavs, and Brad Stevens is the best coach in the NBA, and Kyrie Irving, yeah, he's a great piece, but we're doing it without Kyrie. And then you go back to Cleveland, and you're subjected to the King's wrath there in Quicken Loans Arena. I think over time in a series, that emotional psyche starts to wane and wear and tear on the opponent because the King asserts his dominance. You say this man's 33, he's not even slowing down. It's because LeBron James, I have to admit, is a superior talent. One of the most superior talents of all time. Now, I'm not going to put him ahead of MJ because that finals record, he's still 3-5. And I look at what he's done throughout his career, and yes, it's great, but let's not forget MJ, 10 scoring titles. Let's not forget all the defensive MVP, Defensive Player of the Year awards. Let's not forget everything that MJ did, and also the 3, and then I'm going to chill for a second, and then he comes back and wins 3 more championships. So, LeBron, you're a great player, but that MJ the MJ and LeBron James debate has to be silenced a little bit. But that effect that LeBron James has on his opponents, because they know it's the same effect, similar effect that Kobe had on his opponents, similar effect that Jordan had on his opponents. And in this day and age, LeBron James, when you know he's over there and he can smell you and he's close, you're afraid that he may eat. And honestly, I think the Celtics may end up getting eaten alive. And the next time I talk to you guys, we may be talking about a 4th straight year, Warriors versus Cavs. Do I want to see that? Not necessarily, but it may inevitably happen. Warriors are up 2-1 against the Rockets. They played tonight, Game 4. Game 3, The Warriors and the Dubs blew out the Rockets in Game 3 by 40 points. Now, I was surprised by this also. Considering these are two teams that run up and down, shoot a lot of threes, you would think they'd be able to get a little bit closer as far as the margin of defeat goes if you're a Rockets fan. However, you have to remember that Kevin Durant's a superior defensive player. Draymond Green's a superior defensive player. Also, their emotional leader. Got into it with Trevor Ariza. That really spiced things up in that Game 3. Not to mention, Chef Curry looks like his normal self. I think his light has dimmed somewhat since KD's arrived. I think Steph, I won't say he's a beta wolf, but to a guy, I think he's a guy that doesn't mind deferring, and I think that's kind of hurt his game and hurt the mystique of what Chef Curry was about, cooking in the pot. He scored 35 in this game, hit 5 3-pointers. That's the type of Chef Curry that has to show up each and every night. It can't just be, oh, it's your turn this night. Oh, it's your turn this night. When you're trying to win a championship, you need all weapons firing on all cylinders. And Chef Curry showed that, hey, there's no slowing down. I ain't hurt. I still got the juice. But he's got to remain the same. Don't falter and make yourself less than what you are, Chef Curry, just because you have KD on the roster the last 2 years. Continue to play like that. Build on that. Mike D'Antoni, said the man's name wrong because he's talking crazy. Who you fooling, bruh? He came out after the game and said that the pressure isn't on the Warriors. The pressure isn't on his team. It's on the Warriors. Now, when I hear you say that, Mike D'Antoni, it sounds kind of crazy because your team, you've got an MVP candidate, James Harden. Warriors don't have an MVP candidate this year. They did last year with Kevin Durant, but they don't have that this year. You've got an MVP candidate and an all-time pro at point guard, Chris Paul. The pressure is on you guys because all year Daryl Morey shouted, oh, we're doing everything, building up to the culmination of beating the Golden State Warriors. Well, you're in that spot, you're down 2-1, and you just lost by 40. I don't think the pressure's on the Warriors at this point. It's on you guys to respond. You talk about playing loose, you better play really loose because if you don't, you might lose by 30 or 40 again tonight. James Harden, stop hunting for the foul and hoop, bro. Hoop. They call you the Beard. What's there to fear when the Beard's only looking for a foul? Just saying. Now, one thing I like to see, the Western Conference, I love the Western Conference Finals because they always have Chuck, EJ, Kenny, and Shaq at the end of the segment every night after the game. And I'm looking forward to seeing what an interview would be like between Draymond Green and Charles Barkley because they've had some verbal confrontations this year. Chuck came out and apologized to Draymond Green. However, I love to see Draymond Green up there after a Warriors victory. Just talk to the man, address him. They had Kevin Durant last time, and Kevin Durant's trying to be a little bit of a hard guy because, he's probably a little bit salty about the things that were said about him, about the fake social media and the fact that he left OKC. But I'd love to see Draymond Green get up there and address the whole Charles Barkley. It'd be good TV. It'd be good TV. Moving along, football talk, OTAs. Odell showed up, but why? He ain't got his money yet, but I think he's trying to show the Giants that, hey, I'm here long term. You guys just need to pay me. You know I'm an elite receiver, but I want to get paid. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, I look at Aaron Donald's situation. Arguably the best defensive tackle in the game for the Los Angeles Rams. He's not at OTAs. Why would he be there? Why would he? He hasn't gotten his money, and he hasn't gotten hurt. He stayed healthy, been a big producer for the Rams. He's widely acknowledged as the best defensive tackle in the game. LA, you guys got that money out in California. I almost called you St. Louis, but this is a St. Louis type move to withhold money that this man has earned. Pay the man. Don't play the man. Pay the man. Now, Tom Brady and Gronkowski didn't show up in New England, but I'm not surprised because they're two peas in a pod. Tom Brady, he loves Gronk. Gronk loves Tom, but for Tom, it's more about being appreciated by Robert Kraft and also Bill Belichick. And then for Gronk, I think he says, he's got Tom Brady's back on this. You guys don't appreciate my guy. I need some more money. I'm getting banged up. I've been banged up for the duration of my career here in New England. When you guys going to pay me too? And I ain't showing up until Tommy shows up. And Tommy is his guy. Gronkowski, when he leaves the Pats, I don't see him going to be a free agent anywhere else. I see him retiring as a New England Patriot because he likes football and playing it with Tom Brady that much. CFL-wise, who thought that I would ever give you guys some Canadian Football League juice? Well, I got some for you. Will Johnny Football ever regain the magic that once was? We remember the fantastic and magnificent plays that he had at Texas A&M, the jersey pull against Alabama where he flicks the ball downfield. We remember what he did when he went into Tuscaloosa and found a way to beat the mighty Crimson Tide. And we said, who is this Johnny Football kid in all white? The White Knight, who is he? Johnny Football then goes to the Browns and essentially fails as quarterback of that franchise and is exiled from the NFL. Well, he's got a second chance, signed a 2-year deal with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. My boy Eric Norwood played for them. Shout out to the homie. Now, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, about 30 miles from Toronto. It ain't Toronto, but he'll be up there near his boy Drake. And for me, everybody talks. But Johnny, I just want to see you ball. I just want to see you play. He says this is not a pit stop. He says he's looking to be there to play football. But Johnny Football, we need to see what you can do athletically on a football field again. We saw you play in the spring league. I didn't see a full game, saw a few highlights. But do you still have any fabric of what once was Johnny Manziel, a football player, inside of you? Because that's what we got to see. We've seen the overdose and an accidental overdose that just happened recently because of some prescription pain meds that he accidentally took too much of. We need to see no more off-field distractions. We want to see you on a field be that Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Can he do it? I think he can. Zoe knows he can. NHL-wise, the Vegas Knights reached the Stanley Cup, first expansion team in 50 years to make it. They got the goalie, Marc-Andre Fleury, great player. I love the Vegas inspiration behind this entire story because of what happened with the shooting there a few months ago. That was very tragic, very sad. Wouldn't it be a great thing if the Vegas Golden Knights were able to pull off a Stanley Cup victory? Judging from the teams that I see that are left in this, the Cavs and the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're tied 3-3. TJ Oshie's an American hero. Ovechkin, he's an Ovechkin saver, TJ Oshie is. He had 2 goals against the Tampa Bay Lightning last night to make sure that he could tie that series up. He was the hero in the Olympics for the U.S. a couple years ago. So I think the Capitals, they are the team who should win this series because of the talent, but Tampa Bay, they get it back home for Game 7. I'd love to see that Washington Capitals story of Alexander Ovechkin compete for a Stanley Cup because he couldn't get past Sidney Crosby all these years and play against the Vegas Knights. But specifically the Vegas Knights, if they could do this, it would definitely be uplifting for the entire city. So I'm wishing them the best of luck. Now, I've got more juice for you guys. Make sure you check out Zono Sports. That's all for today, but we will always wrap. You know we will. And hopefully next time we're talking about who's going to win the NBA Finals because these series will for sure probably be over by this time next week. However, only you know that Zoe knows that who knows what could happen with these two teams in each of these conference finals in the NBA. But thank you for watching the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zoe knows.